So you want to be an artist and you never went to art school and you don't really know where to begin? Well, you're not alone. I've been a self-taught artist for 10 years as a professional, and I can still remember when I first started making art 2 years before that, so 12 years ago, and how challenging and confusing it was to figure things out. Well, these days we have so much information on the internet, but it can still get really overwhelming when you are a beginning self-taught artist, not knowing what applies to you and what doesn't. I'm MaryAnn, and I'm here to share what I have learned as a self-taught artist to help you figure out the best art career for you. In this video, I'll share 3 things that I wish that I had known when I was starting out as a self-taught artist. So first of all, the artist journey is supposed to be difficult. I admit I was rather delusional when I was starting out trying to be an artist at the age of 28. I had this assumption that if it was something that you were meant to do, it should come easy to you and it should be pretty much effortless. So I kind of just assumed that if I was meant to be an artist, it would be relatively easy for me to make art and to make good art. So when I was trying to figure out what to draw, how to practice my art, how to develop my skills, and it was just not working out. Like the artworks just didn't look that great. And I started to beat myself up and started to feel resigned and started to believe that maybe I wasn't meant to be an artist because I was struggling so much with that process. But the truth is, it is supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be challenging. One thing that I have had to learn in the last 10 years or so is that every profession comes with its challenges and difficulties. And with every new skill that you want to learn, there's always going to be some sort of a learning curve. Unless, of course, you are the rare case of being a prodigy and everything comes easy to you. This is pretty much how it works for almost everyone, I would say. Of course, you might have an aptitude for artistic creativity and to be able to pick up art techniques and art principles quickly. But even so, there are going to be other challenges in this profession, like figuring out your chosen subject matter, developing your ideas, expressing yourself emotionally through your art, and eventually figuring out the best way to market and sell your art if that is the path you want to go on. Any path that we decide to walk, any career that we choose, it is inevitably going to have its challenges. And what is more important then is whether you are willing to deal with those challenges and whether you believe that this is going to be a worthwhile journey for you. Only you can decide that. In terms of the art making process, I have come to realize over the last 10 years that 90% of what you're going to make is just going to be terrible. It's just not going to be great. You're going to hate it. And this is a completely normal part of the process. However, it is also a very necessary part of the process where you have to go through making these 9 horrible artworks to get to that one amazing one. So if you find that you are really struggling as a beginning self-taught artist, it doesn't mean that you are in the wrong profession. It just means that you have a lot to learn, and it simply just means that it is challenging. It is what it is. And sometimes it could also mean that you're not entirely clear about which stage of the art journey that you are in at the moment, and you might be expecting a little bit too much of yourself, and so you're just struggling unnecessarily. So that brings me to the second thing that I wish that I had known as a beginning self-taught artist, which is that it is really important to know which stage of the art career that you are currently in. When I say the word art career, I use this word very generally in the sense that if you have decided that this is a profession that you want to pursue, it doesn't matter whether you are selling your art yet or not. This is your vocation. This is a path you have chosen to dedicate your life to. And possibly it will be a lifelong journey should you decide to remain committed to it. And there's also a natural progression of how this journey develops and unfolds. So again, unless you're a prodigy, chances are the stages of this journey is something that you're going to go through. Of course, everyone's art journey is different, and what I'm sharing is just a guideline based on my personal experience and also based on what I have observed and known of other artists' journey as well. So for example, if you are still wondering about whether being an artist is the right thing for you, you might still be exploring different media, or just starting by sketching some simple things, or you might be taking some introduction classes. If you have already decided on a medium that you enjoy working in and you want to keep improving at it, then you might be in that stage of developing your skill set in that particular medium. If you've been drawing for a few years as a hobby and you decide that now you want to take art more seriously, then maybe you're at that stage of creating an art series or looking for ways to showcase your work on or outside of social media. If you have been consistently showing your work and people have started to express some interest in it, you might be at that stage of starting to seriously consider selling your work or selling your art skills as a service. So there's a progression to this journey. And when we are starting out as self-taught artists, as adults, and having not made art as a hobby like I was 12 years ago, it can be really tempting to want to rush this process because you feel like you're behind everyone else, you have to catch up. All these younger people have gone to art school and you haven't, and it puts a lot of unnecessary stress on a person. Using myself as an example, when I was a new artist and I was just barely a few months into my art journey, I was already starting to look at art open calls, at developing my portfolio, at applying to art-related jobs, and basically just stressing myself out unnecessarily over how my art skills wasn't good enough. I wasn't liking anything that I was creating, when my focus at that time was just supposed to be on practicing my drawing skills and figuring out which media I enjoyed working with. Like I said, everyone's journey is different. You do you. I don't really regret this path that I've taken for the last 10 years. I think it may be more effective and efficient then to focus on one stage at a time of the journey of being an artist and let it build naturally. So if you are just starting to make art as a self-taught artist, then just focus on making art, focus on practicing your skills, explore different subject matter and ideas, and don't worry too much about figuring out how to sell it just yet. When you have identified which stage of the art career you're in, we then come to the third thing that I wished I had known back when I was starting out, which is that it is really necessary to define a short-term goal that you can work towards consistently so that you know exactly what you need to work on each day when you show up to practice your art. I recommend one because when you try to do more than one, it can end up getting a little confusing, overwhelming again. And when it's just one goal, all you know is that you just show up and you just do that one thing or work towards that one thing until it is done. This is advice that I struggle so much to follow even today. Okay, so I know it's difficult, but it is something I am also striving to work towards. This goal that you define needs to be something that would fit the current stage of the art career that you're in. So as an example, if you're still at the stage of learning your skills, then basically just set a goal to improve on your skill set. This might look like a consistent practice of drawing the same subject once a day, every single day for 30 days. Or maybe you buy a sketchbook, a small sketchbook, and you decide that you're going to fill up one page a day until the book is completed. The goal doesn't need to be anything really complicated. It just needs to be something simple enough for you to reach, but still challenges you a little bit. If let's say you're starting to feel a bit more confident with your skills and your chosen media, perhaps your goal might be to complete an actual artwork that you could use for your portfolio or to submit for an exhibition. If let's say you have been developing your art skills as a hobby for many years and now you want to take your art career a little bit more seriously and go professional, maybe your goal might be to create a series of work to enhance your portfolio. And if you feel like you might be ready to explore earning an income as an artist, then perhaps your goal is to make your very first art sale or to get into an exhibition. I know there's a lot of sources out there that will say things like you have to set long-term goals, you got to know what you want, and I don't disagree with that. But I think a lot of times when you're not even clear about what is the immediate outcome that you would like to have, especially when you're starting out in your art career and you're not sure where it's going to go yet, it might be difficult to define any long-term goals, though you might have a general idea of the direction you would like to go in. So I would say that don't stress too much about what might happen in the long haul. Just set a goal that is achievable in the next month or 2 months. And then when you've completed that, you can evaluate how that experience was like for you and then decide what is the next goal for you for the next month or the next 2 months. And just repeat this process until over time it starts to get a little bit clearer what this direction for you might be. Setting clearly defined short-term goals will help you to stay on track and focus Just like where you have to make 90% of horrible artwork to get to that one amazing one, the only way to figure out a direction that you want to take to create the best art career for you is to just take action and do something about it. To recap, 3 more things to know when you're starting out as a self-taught artist. First of all, it's supposed to be difficult. It's supposed to be challenging. Even if you're naturally gifted at artistic abilities, there are still other challenges that will come your way. Number 2, it is important to know which stage of the art career and art journey that you're in so that you have realistic expectations of your abilities and your current goals as a beginning artist. Number 3, it's necessary to set short-term goals that are within your reach and related to the current stage of the journey that you are in, so you have something to keep you focused and on track as you discover the best art career for you. If you have questions or you want to respond to something that I've shared, feel free to chat with me in the comments. Subscribe to my channel for more content to help you create the best art career for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.